Good afternoon, this is vk3sl. Welcome to the afternoon music test session. Tone tests on 160 metres in the narrowband FM mode. And this is the weather I like, shoulder season weather. I've just had a snooze in the hammock and life is starting to wind down. This is good. Moving into holiday mode and I'm looking forward to a break. It's been a bit crazy since going back. Yeah, so what to report? Well, it's good. This time of the year is good because you're not sort of accountable too much in the workplace, or at least I'm not. And I can do extended listening sessions with young people. And young people are great listeners because they have all sorts of wonderful, imaginative responses to things. So, yeah, that's been quite good indeed. You can have a lot of fun listening to music. Anyhow, what else? Oh, not a lot to report. And we'll see where the journey takes us today. So I've got a few interesting ideas. In fact, I went to the Alp shop on the way home from work today, and I found a Spotlight record. Yes, another one of Cyril Stevens' discs. This is a 12-inch stereo record, probably one of the latter issues, and it features William Flynn. But I'm going to hold off. We'll play a bit of it soon. And but before doing that, I found something that took my imagination. So we're going to kick off today with a band called the 6 and 7 8 Band, and a classic tune called Tico Tico, recorded in the 1940s. vk3sl testing. Yes, recorded in New Orleans in 1949. Bert Clemminger on the mandolin. And it's good to hear mandolin and steel guitar, and it's a particular sound, sort of pre-brew glassy, skiffle. I don't know, I'm not good with my definitions of that idiom, but it just took my attention. I thought, yeah, we'll have to feature that. So we picked up an LP today, and I was in the op shop, and it was $1, and I didn't have any money in my wallet because I don't carry cash anymore. Well, very rarely. So that was a trick, and I wanted this one. So I scrounged around in the bottom of the car, and lo and behold, under the carpet there was a dollar coin. So I was able to pick up the Cyril Stevens disc. It's called Party Time, and it features William Flynn and his orchestra. Now, of course, William Flynn had a long tenure at 3DB, and I wonder if this was recorded at 3DB. I don't know, or maybe in the Cyril Stevens studios, but it was a large group. It's a stereo recording, and it just may feature that master recorder that Mr. Fleming has in his collection. He's got the stereo custom ferrograph that Cyril Stevens used in the Thornbury studios. What does it say on the cover here? I haven't seen many of these 12-inch. You see mainly the 10-inch Spotlights, but it says Spotlight Super Sound Microgroove records are true high fidelity. Sound critics are unanimous that Spotlight Super Sound is true sound. Spotlight Super Sound covers the whole range of sound from the lowest note to the highest, thus giving perfect reproduction. So there we go. That's a pretty bit of hubris there, Mr. Stevens. Well, we'll see how it comes up. Now, the only problem, there's one problem with this record, and it's in good condition. Everything else is good. The cover's in perfect condition, but the content is pretty average. Yes, it's not exactly the sort of music that I find inspiring. So we'll just listen to this as a technical resource, and we'll cut to just one of the tracks. And we'll give you a sample of Party Time with William Flynn and his orchestra. This is vk3sl testing. just heard the evening three-step selection with William Flynn and his orchestra, an album entitled Party Time, recorded by Cyril Stevens at his Thornbury Studios, it says here, but I reckon that was made in a public hall somewhere. I wonder, I'd like to know the story behind that, and is that indeed the 3DB orchestra we've just been listening to? Maybe it is. At that time, William Flynn was at the baton at 3DB. So, yeah, would be good to flesh that one out. We'll save another track for our late night Friday missions, I think. This is vk3sl testing on 160, sampling the collection here. I heard a very good quote about music today. What was it? Music gets past the defensive. I thought that's a good one. It gets past the defensive, it gets past conspiracy theories, it gets past COVID, it gets past politics. Transcends all those things and gives us another landscape to escape to. And I value that. That's what these missions are about. It's finding another space. Anyhow, this is a piece I listened to today with a group of young people, and I have to say they really got into it. And I just love this music. vk3sl. some sardonic Soviet music. The Dance of the Knights. The Dance of the Rough Knights. Prokofiev from Romeo and Juliet. I think we'll have to hear the whole ballet one night. I'll dig it up and we'll play it. There we have it. I hope you had your bass turned up. It is seismic. Fantastic. And that's from a vid with Mr. Georgiev and the LSO, and he's getting into action. What a wonderful piece. And I realised that I've never really explored much of the music of Prokofiev, so I reckon he deserves more of a Guernsey. Let's find something else. I think we'll play some of his famous classical symphony. Yeah, this is another work that's sort of neoclassical, and I think it's his first symphony, paying homage to the likes of Haydn and Mozart in his own characteristic way, in the way that he writes his phrasing, and there's lots of nuances that refer to an earlier time, but of course it's well steeped in the 20th century as well. So we'll hear Prokofiev's Classical Symphony in D major, Opus 25, a recording with Leonard Bernstein. This is vk3sl testing. Such a playful work. We heard Prokofiev's Classical Symphony in D, his first symphony, Opus 25. He says, I walked through the fields composing the Classical Symphony. I wrote down what I had already composed, but not yet in the form of a score. When our classically inclined musicians and professors, to my mind faux classical, hear the symphony, they will be bound to scream in protest at this new example of Prokofiev's insolence. Look how he would not let Mozart lie quiet in his grave, but had come prodding at him with his grubby hands. Oh gosh, this is interesting. Contaminating the pure classical pearls with horrible Prokofiev's dissonances. but my true friends will see that the style of my symphony is precisely Mozartian classicism and will value it accordingly, while the public will no doubt be content to hear happy and uncomplicated music, which it will, of course, applaud. There we go. They loved it. And he said here he wrote the work without a piano. So he wanted to test his prowess and compose a major work without the use of a piano. So, it's good fodder. It's nice late afternoon music. Well, we'll continue now with something. Actually, I do have here a recording of Prokofiev himself playing the gavotte from the symphony on the piano, which is sort of a little bit at odds of what I've just said, but this is a later event. And yes, we'll hear his interpretation of the gavotte. It's short. vk3sl testing. We heard Prokofiev playing his own music. That was the gavotte from the symphony we just heard, number 1. Symphony number 1, opus 25, known as his classical symphony, written in, 1916? Anyhow, we will change gear, and something much more severe. We'll hear another episode of The Shadow. This one is called Murder with Muzak, and it was originally put to air on the 23rd of May 1946. vk3sl testing.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Once again, we bring you the thrilling adventures of The Shadow, the hard and relentless fight of one man against the forces of evil. These dramatizations are designed to demonstrate forcibly to old and young alike that crime does not pay. The Shadow, who aids the forces of law and order, is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. While in the Orient, Cranston learned a strange and mysterious secret: the hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible Shadow belongs. Today's drama, Murder with Music. A young girl, her face distorted in horror, stands facing a murderer.
Why are you just standing there staring at me? Why don't you say something? No, don't come near me. Oh, you wouldn't hit me. You wouldn't. Oh, my face. Oh, stop. Oh, stop, for the love of heaven. Don't hit me. No, please. He does play well, doesn't he, Lamont?
I'm tired, Margot. It's getting late. Isn't he ever going to stop?
Now, Mrs. Hamilton's planned this recital for weeks. Edward Milland is her prodigy. We must be polite.
Just because she's one of the social elite and owns a mansion.
Mrs. Hamilton is a patron of the arts, darling. This Milland is her latest discovery. She's put him up here at her home and given him the finest teachers. She's completely responsible for his success.
Well, if you ask me, the old girl's probably infatuated with the young pianist.
It's his music, Lamont. She's sponsored artists for years.
Well, that's over. It's past 11. Let's say thanks and good night and get up before the darlings and you paid so de vain start.
Darling.
Too late.
Miss Lane, how charming to see you again.
Oh, hello. Lamont, you know Oliver Viceroy, the society columnist, don't you?
Of course everyone knows me, Miss Lane. Harriet's got a real fine in this Edward Milland. Going to make him a big star.
He's rather young, isn't he?
Oh, the aesthetic type, you know. Hope Harriet doesn't drive him too hard. But you know Harriet Hamilton, once she sets her mind to a thing.
She's certainly got some of the most influential people up to hear his first recital tonight.
Harriet can do anything.
Have you seen Jennifer Gay around?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I know she's a friend of yours and Mrs. Hamilton's too.
The truth is, Mr. Viceroy, I made Miss Lane promise to introduce me to Miss Jennifer Gay, the famous actress.
No, I don't think you're likely to see her here tonight. Oh, well, cheers, people. I must make the rounds.
That old bluff. The day I see him without that silly blue cornflower buttonhole, I'll give him a big red apple. Right on the...
Lamont, that's his trademark, the best-dressed man in town.
Oh, let's get out of here, Margot.
You played so divinely.
Foiled again.
Didn't he play divinely, Miss Lane? Mr. Cranston, this is my prodigy, Edward Milland.
How do you do?
How do you do?
We did enjoy your playing, Mr. Milland.
Oh, thank you. Really, Harriet, I'd like to be excused, if I may.
Just a few more introductions, Edward. Recitals upset Edward dreadfully. It's the first time he's played before so many well-known people.
By the way, Mrs. Hamilton, is Jennifer Gay around? I'd like to meet her. I've enjoyed her plays so much.
Jennifer Gay? No, she's not around, Mr. Cranston. As a matter of fact, she wasn't invited. She won't be here tonight.
What's that?
Sounds like someone rapping at the window. I heard it just before I finished playing.
There's someone standing outside those French windows across the room.
It's a girl. You can see her quite clearly through the glass doors. I'd better get over there.
There's something wrong with her.
Harriet! Harriet, look, she's falling against the glass!
Stand aside, everybody.
She's bleeding, Lamont.
It's Jennifer Gay. She's been hurt terribly.
Keep away from her, Mr. Viceroy.
No, let me help you. Jennifer! Oh, my darling, my darling!
Harriet, it's Jennifer.
Don't look, Edward. We've got to get help for her, Lamont. She's bleeding.
It's too late, Margot. She's been brutally murdered in cold blood.
Her body...
Quiet, everybody, please. And just stay right here in the living room. The police will be here in a minute.
But this can't be murder, Mr. Cranston, here in my home.
I'm afraid it is, Mrs. Hamilton. People don't commit suicide that way.
Jennifer murdered this way.
Please try to control yourself, Mr. Viceroy.
But who could have killed her? Murdered her so brutally this way?
It couldn't have been any of my guests, Mr. Cranston. We were all in this room when Jennifer was killed. You and Miss Lane had chairs by the door. You'd have seen if anyone had slipped out.
You've got to find out who did this fiendish thing.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
Lamont, it's Tony Clayton, the stage star.
I see. The body beautiful himself.
Well, what's wrong, Harriet? I thought this was a party. You all look as though you'd seen a ghost.
Not a ghost, Mr. Clayton. A body. Jennifer Gay's dead body is under that robe.
Jennifer?
Know her, Mr. Clayton?
Why, certainly I know her. One of my best friends since I came east.
I wouldn't exactly say friends, Mr. Clayton.
Oh, you're here too, Mr. Viceroy.
Where were you all the evening, Mr. Clayton, if you were invited here?
I was having a few drinks at the Penguin Club after dinner. I didn't realize it was so late.
Oh, I see.
Mr. Cranston, can't my guests leave now? We were all in this room at the time.
Yes, please, Mr. Cranston.
I'm afraid that'll have to be for the police to say. They should be here in a minute now. Mr. Clayton, would you step over here a minute?
Why, yes, of course.
This has been a terrible thing, hasn't it, Mr. Clayton?
Yes, it certainly has.
Particularly since you were such a good friend of Jennifer Gay.
Well, actually, I just met Jen in my last show. She played opposite me. We were really only, acquaintances.
I've admired those strong, silent roles you play on the stage, Mr. Clayton. You certainly get some rugged parts to play.
Well, thanks, Cranston. Yes, I have to really keep in trim for roles I play.
Yes, of course. You say you were at the Penguin Club all evening, Mr. Clayton?
Yes, I was. Look, are you cross-examining me? I've heard you're some kind of amateur criminologist.
Oh, not at all, Mr. Clayton.
Well, don't try. When the police get here, they can check my alibi. I was at the Penguin Club all evening. Mr. Jenkins, the owner, will verify that. He's rather a close friend of mine.
I imagine he is. Well, thanks, Mr. Clayton. It was nice having the opportunity to get to know you better.
Lamont, I'm amazed that the police let everyone go.
Well, they really have no evidence to hold any of them on yet. They're all well-known people.
How'd you make out with our Greek god, Clayton? I remember now that his name's been linked with Jennifer Gage in all the gossip columns recently.
Yes, I remember that too, Margot.
Did you notice how broken up Oliver Viceroy was? My dearest girl, he called Jennifer. Perhaps she was just playing with Clayton.
As I remember, she's been a friend of Viceroy's for years. He's helped to coach her and helped her with her career.
Perhaps Clayton didn't know that. He's just returned from abroad.
Something happened in the hallway when I'd finished talking to Clayton that seemed very strange. He picked up a pair of man's gloves from the table when we left.
Well, they were probably his.
Well, I'm sure they were.
What's so strange about it?
I noticed that they were already there when we entered that room, which means that Tony Clayton might have been in the house earlier tonight.
You mean he was there during the recital and attacked Jennifer in the garden before we saw him?
Before he made his entrance late to establish his alibi. He has the strength to brutally murder Jennifer Gay that way, and he may have the motive.
But the police checked up on his story before we left, Lamont. They said it was watertight.
It seemed watertight, Margot. But by Tony's own admission, the owner of the Penguin Club was a good friend of his. I think the Shadow had better pay a little call on Mr. Jenkins tonight.
All right, you chaps. Close up and you can all go. I'm going over the books for a while.
There's something else we must go over first, Mr. Jenkins.
Who's that? There's nobody in this office.
The Shadow is here to pay you a call, Mr. Jenkins.
The Shadow? Who are you? What do you want?
The truth, Mr. Jenkins. A man's life is at stake.
A man's life?
Tony Clayton, why did you say he was here in your club with you all evening? Why did you instruct your waiters to tell the same lie if anyone questioned?
Tony's a friend of mine. He asked me to say that. I didn't want to see him get in any more trouble with Jennifer Gay.
Jennifer Gay? What trouble, Mr. Jenkins?
Well, he's been trying to dump her. He's got another girl. He was with that girl when he left here right after dinner tonight.
If Clayton wasn't here at your club, Jenkins, where was he? Where did he go?
I don't know. I swear it. I wouldn't have lied about him being here if I thought I was going to get into any trouble.
You're in plenty of trouble, Jenkins. If Tony Clayton is the murderer, you've made yourself an accomplice, and you'll pay for that stupid lie.
Oh, really, Lamont, you're going to get into trouble sometime. Crashing in on Tony Clayton in his hotel suite at 3 a.m. His manservant told you he hadn't come in.
I wanted to make sure. You can't believe anybody when you're on the trail of a murderer, Margot. If I'd believed Jenkins, I'd never have found out what I know now.
You really think Clayton is the murderer?
It looks now as if Tony Clayton deliberately faked an alibi so that he could kill Jennifer.
It's odd, isn't it? Clayton's own valet said he hadn't seen him since he returned from the recital tonight and went down to the hotel storage room to open one of his trunks.
It's a funny time of night for that sort of thing. Unless he was getting some clothes for a quick getaway. Margot, we're going to slip down into the basement under the hotel. Into that strange storage room.
But if he is down there, and he is a murderer, our lives wouldn't be worth anything.
We'll have to take that chance, Margot. Come on. We'll find out what Clayton was doing in that storage room tonight. Take my hand, Margot. These stairs are pretty steep.
Lamont, it might be a trap. He knows you suspect him. He may want us to come down here alone.
There. That's the last step.
There's nobody down here at this hour. The place is pitch black.
Found it. I can't find the light.
Oh, well, here, take my cigarette lighter.
No, thanks. That'll help.
Look at all those dusty old trunks. Oh, Lamont, he may be hiding behind those.
Yes, and he may have got out of town, too.
You know how strong the murderer must be, Lamont. He could beat us like he beat Jennifer. and snap our necks the way he...
Thought I heard something. No, it's not a sound.
Lamont, it is a trap. He wanted us to come down here.
Keep behind me. Quiet.
What was that?
Sounded like something heavy bumped against the wall. Look at that trunk over there, Margot.
What? Why, it's got Clayton's name on it.
It's pushed right up against this cupboard door. We'll push it out so that we can see if it's locked. Margot, look out! That cupboard door is opening. There's something in there.
Yes, there is something inside.
Back, Margot, quick! It's coming out!
It's alive, Lamont. It's grabbed me. Help, Lamont!
We'll return to this thrilling adventure of the Shadow in just a minute. Lamont Cranston and Margot Lane, on the trail of a brutal killer, stumbled on a bloody-faced body in a cupboard of a hotel basement storage room.
What was it, Lamont? What was it that grabbed me?
A corpse, Margot. It fell against you when you pushed that trunk away from the cupboard door.
A dead body?
Tony Clayton's body, Margot. Beaten. The neck broken. The head nearly torn off.
I can't look.
Tony Clayton killed the same way Jennifer Gay was killed this afternoon. By someone with the strength of a giant.
It's horrible, Lamont.
Wait. I've just found something.
What is it?
Something on his coat, Margot. A few tiny petals of blue cornflower.
Oliver Viceroy.
He must have seen Clayton tonight.
But how could Viceroy have killed Clayton this way, Lamont? Viceroy's not a young man, and certainly not the strong, virile type.
Perhaps Viceroy didn't kill him. He could have hired some thug and brought him along to do his murdering for him.
But why?
Revenge for Jennifer's death. Viceroy has always been in love with her.
You mean, you think Clayton killed Jennifer this evening, and then Viceroy had him killed for revenge?
And what more perfect revenge could Viceroy have than to see Clayton die in the same brutal way he used to kill Jennifer? Let's go, Margot.
You're going to see Oliver Viceroy?
Alone, right now, as the Shadow.
My revolver lies beside me on the desk here in my room as I write this, my last column. A famous society matron will shed no tears over my suicide. Even now she sheds no tears over the murder of a beautiful actress in the grounds of her home tonight. I name no one as guilty. Truth will find a way. But I know that a woman's jealousy and hate did kill Jennifer Gay. And that is my obituary. Now the gun. Who's that? Who set the revolver out of my hand?
The Shadow has your gun now, Oliver Viceroy.
What happened here?
Why did you kill Tony Clayton?
Tony Clayton? He's been murdered too.
Yes, Oliver Viceroy. Beaten. His neck broken. Like Jennifer Gay. You hired someone to kill him.
No, I didn't. I swear I didn't.
Then why were petals from your blue cornflower buttonhole found on the lapel of his coat?
Petals? From my buttonhole? It's a trick. Someone deliberately planted them there.
You wanted Tony killed for revenge. You believed he killed Jennifer.
No, I know that he didn't. Tony didn't kill Jennifer, but I know who did.
Who?
Harriet Hamilton. She hated Jennifer because Jennifer was trying to steal Edward away from her.
You have no proof.
I have. This letter here, in black and white. Dear Oliver, you are the only person I know who has influence over Jennifer Gay. Warn her to keep out of my house. She's trying to take Edward from me and from his career. Keep her away. I'll kill her or anyone else who dares interfere. Signed, Harriet Hamilton.
Why have you hidden this evidence? Why didn't you go to the police if you suspected her?
Out of gratitude. Harriet helped me, too, to get started. Gave me money for my career. But I feel no more gratitude now for that woman. She planted my flower so that the police would suspect me of Tony's murder.
You're naming her to save your own life.
Why would I lie to save a life I was about to take? You saw, Shadow. You yourself saved me from suicide. But I've a reason for living now. To see her hanged.
I'll take the letter, Oliver Viceroy. The Shadow has the proof he needs now in black and white.
Lamont, don't drive so fast. We'll be arrested.
There's no one on the streets at this time of night.
You think Harriet Hamilton might try to get away?
If she should discover that we're after her now.
She killed Jennifer out of jealousy. But why did she kill Tony Clayton?
If we're not too late, Margot, we'll find out when we tell her that we know she killed Jennifer Gay.
Edward! Edward, darling!
Don't come downstairs, Harriet.
Edward, what are you doing playing at this hour?
I can't sleep, I tell you.
Stop that playing, Edward.
It helps calm my nerves. It keeps me from thinking. I can't do anything but play.
Stop playing. You heard what I said. I can make you stop. You know that, don't you?
Yes, I know it, Harriet.
Sitting alone in this dark room, playing with the light of a candle. If someone should hear you at this hour, they'd think it was very strange.
All right, I won't play any more tonight.
That's better, Edward. Much better.
You wouldn't stop at anything.
Why are you frightened of me, Edward? I give you strength. I'll make you great.
I know, Harriet.
There's nothing to fear. I'll always take care of you.
I couldn't get along without you.
That is true, Edward.
I've never known a mother's faith and love. You've given me that for my music. Jennifer and Tony. What if the police find out?
Edward.
They're dead, aren't they? They're dead.
Edward.
You struck me.
Stop acting like an hysterical child.
The car just drove up.
One of the neighbors.
At 4:30 in the morning? Oh, no, Harriet. No, it's the police. It's the police.
No, they couldn't have found out.
Tell them the truth, Harriet. Tell them everything. Put an end to this terror.
Listen to me, Edward. I've made plans for this. We're running away.
No, they catch us.
I've a valise for you already packed and one for me, too. I've hidden them in the second floor room in the garage above the car.
Oh, Harriet, I'm afraid.
Together we'll manage. Come with me now.
I can't, Harriet. I'm afraid.
You can. Look at me, Edward.
Let me go.
No. Out of the servants' entrance to the garage. Quick, you're coming with me. See, the suitcases are right here. We're safe for a moment while they search the house.
I can't go on. I can't, Harriet. Tell the police the truth. I'll tell them the truth.
All right, tell them, you fool. You'll hang. I won't.
I'll hang?
Of course you will. But it was worth it, wasn't it? I'm not sorry even now. I've always wanted Jennifer out of the way. I've always hated her. I'm glad she's dead. Tony, too, had to be killed. I didn't even know he was in the house till I saw him looking out, watching you kill Jennifer.
You wanted them killed. But I'll hang.
Jennifer was after you for herself. She would have taken you from me.
You made me kill them for you. You told me lies. That Jennifer was laughing at us. You made me hate her until I killed her in a blind rage.
No one would suspect you, Edward. You're so weak and dependent. No one would dream of the great strength that lies in those two hands of yours.
Yes, my two strong hands I exercised and developed to make beautiful music. Delicate music. You urged me on so they'd bring pain and death. You made me kill for your own selfish purpose.
And you'll hang. I won't. So you'd better obey me. You can't get along without me.
I'll hang. You won't.
They're down below now. We've got to get out of here somehow. The window.
You're not going anywhere, Harriet.
Edward, why are you locking that door?
We're trapped, Harriet, and you know it. But you don't care because you're not the murderer.
They won't take you, Edward. Look at your powerful hands. You could beat them, snap their necks if you chose.
No, Harriet. It's your neck I'm after this time.
No.
Yes. Look at these powerful hands, Harriet. Hands that beat Jennifer and Tony to a pulp.
Edward, you wouldn't harm me.
I'm going to show you how I killed Jennifer.
No!
This
one
is a test
blow
transmission
on her face
vk3sl.
like this. Then she got up herself. Just like that.
Don't, Edward, don't.
I smashed down with another.
No! Edward!
Another.
Stop! Stop!
And now, Harriet, this is how Jennifer felt when I grabbed her throat and shook her. And then I twisted her neck.
Who's here? The door's locked.
Lamont, you've got no gun. There's a murderer in there.
I've got to try and save the woman. I've got to break through the door. That did it.
It's Edward. Lamont, keep away from him. He's the murderer.
You come here.
Stay away from him, Lamont, please.
All right, Milland. You're coming with me.
Why, you?
I've got those murdering hands of yours now, Milland.
Oh, no, you don't. No, you don't.
I've got him. Hold him for the police, Margot. He's not going to give us any more trouble now. I got Milland locked up. He just confessed everything.
He killed Jennifer Gay, Tony, and then Mrs. Hamilton.
Harriet Hamilton was the mind and force behind those murders, Margot. She used Milland as a tool. She told him she could never be happy or help him with his career as long as Jennifer lived.
And she persuaded him to kill Clayton to cover that murder.
Yes. Jennifer came out early before the recital to keep a rendezvous with Milland. Clayton followed her out, and unfortunately for him, Tony witnessed the murder.
That's why his gloves were in that room. He'd left them. But why didn't he go right to the police?
He was afraid of being involved in a murder that might ruin his stage career. Besides, it did get rid of Jennifer for him at the most convenient time.
Yes. What about the blue cornflower petals on his lapel?
Milland said Mrs. Hamilton deliberately planted them there to take suspicion away from both of them.
I see. Darling, I still get weak every time I think of you facing that brutal murderer.
I could almost tremble myself, Margot. Believe me, it wasn't easy.
But how on earth did you subdue him?
I nearly didn't, Margot. I felt the terrific strength in those two hands. And then suddenly, when he looked down at Mrs. Hamilton's dead body, a strange thing happened. The strength seemed to leave him. It was as if all the power Edward Milland possessed left him the moment he realized he had murdered Harriet Hamilton. The one person who had made him strong.
As you sow evil, so shall you reap evil. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
Well, high-octane shadow episodes from the Radio Echoes archive. Chopping veggies while listening to that, getting more and more involved, and I nearly lost a finger. That was pretty compelling stuff there, and we'll continue with this series because there's quite a few more. It's great that they're all in the pub domain. All right, we'll continue now while I continue to do the dinner missions. What have we got? Oh, this has just been put up this afternoon, and I'm very keen to hear it. I know this recording, but this is a new restoration by one of the YT channels I frequent. It's a recording of J.S. Bach's Violin Concerto No. 1, the A minor concerto, a recording made in 1934 with Bronislaw Huberman, a remarkable fiddle player with an incredibly individual and interpretive spirit. He was a maverick, remarkable player, and very idiosyncratic player, but an instrumentalist who I admire enormously. In fact, Mr. Huberman played for Brahms in 1896, I think, and moved Brahms to tears. In fact, Brahms went to the concert to hear Huberman play his violin concerto, and he went there to admonish the kid for tackling such a complex work, not believing that a young person could have the emotional maturity to play it. Anyhow, he was completely floored by Huberman's performance, and Brahms, so much so that he said he'd go out of retirement and write a fantasy for violin and orchestra, and no sooner had he was about to begin writing the work than he died, passed away, so it never happened. But Huberman lived on, and he lived until the mid-1940s. And around about the time this recording was made, he was involved in a plane accident, and he smashed both hands, and he made an incredible recovery. I don't know if this was before or after that event, maybe before, but it's a highly acclaimed performance of the Bach Violin Concerto No. 1. So let's have a listen for the next 15 minutes. Music of J.S. Bach. This is vk3sl testing. test transmission, vk3sl. Well, what fantasy, what imagination. Incredible. Huberman was one of the most individual of all the players of his generation, and he had a very personal vision of the music he played. And as I mentioned before, he moved Brahms to tears as a young kid playing the Brahms Concerto, which is a formidable work, and he was a child prodigy of high repute, and his career endured it. He lived up until the 1940s. Anyhow, I think what we can do just before we wind up, I'm on a roll. Well, a little bit. I've got the dinner bubbling away inside. I'll play a little bit of one of the Berliner recordings he made in 1898. So this is one of the very first commercial violin recordings. There were others before this, but one of the first notable fiddle players. And this is a teenage Huberman. Radoslav Huberman at the age of about 15 or 16. Not long after he played for Brahms. So we can sample a bit of that early material if I just click in the right place. And we've got a recording of Moment Musical here, I think. I'll have to find it. I'm looking. 5:31. There it is. Well, let's cast our mind back to 120-something years. Mr. Huberman. Or Master Huberman.
Transmission from vk3sl.
There we have it, Mr. Huberman, or Master Huberman, as in 1898, or thereabouts, a Berliner disc that was. Well, even then, he was very individualistic and had quite a personal style. It's great to hear. I think we might have a Huberman Fest. I've noticed there's a lot of the historic recordings featuring Mr. H are now online and remastered without too much noise reduction, which is what I like. So we'll have to sample more missions fodder. All right, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your indulgence. Thank you for your listening in. It's a long haul, and we'll hopefully, all being well, we'll be back tomorrow. vk3sl test missions on 160 and streaming online.